Hi, my name is Xavier Stambo. I handle marketing relations here at Akupara Games, and I have the privilege of showcasing Jack Breen and Gigasword. Welcome, Jack. Welcome to the Akupara family. Uh, and just to start it off, Jack, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Gigasword?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Jack Breen. I've been working on Gigasword since the middle of 2019, so it's been a long time coming now. Gigasword is a Metroidvania in which you wield this massive sword that weighs you down. And it's been my passion project for years now. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be working with Akupara at this point in the process, and I cannot wait to get the game out to all you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I have played, sorry if you hear cat dispenser, but I've played an extensive amount of the demo. I think I almost beat your speed run.
Oh,
Jack
really?
one video where he goes through the demo that's live on Steam. You all should all do it. And I just barely whiffed. I was so upset about it.
I should redo mine at this point because it's been now that's like 2 years old or whatever it is. So I should go back see if I can beat my own record. But no, I'm sure somebody will beat it at some point.
Do you think you could now? Because there were a couple hiccups here and there.
I'm sure. Yeah, I could probably. Last time I remember, I was talking about the game while I was playing, and I was like, I'm not even really focusing that much. So if I really like locked in, I bet I could probably beat it. Yeah,
Awesome. We should do that one day. Maybe you versus me. We'll play it together.
let's do it.
But I wanted to go a little bit more into Gigasword and how you kind of came into game dev itself. Uh, Jack has a YouTube channel, I believe it's called Hybrid Plays, where you started out doing indie game reviews and specifically, I think, more Metroidvania focused. And they're more niche, and I think they're super interesting. You did like more like in-depth things on how to make tiles, how to make interesting Metroidvanias and maps and things like that. Could you go into more about your like devlog slash YouTube channel and like how that led into Gigasword? Because you have really funny and interesting things throughout, such as the scope creep bonk bat John video game and a dishes video that we'll pull up here afterwards. But it is great. I'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I've wanted to be a game developer since I was really, really young. So making my own games was always the plan. But I came up with the idea for Hybrid Plays. Um, I forget when exactly the idea came to me, but I knew that I had friends at school who were making their own games, and I wanted to kind of showcase those. And I was just getting into itch.io, that site where I was finding all these really kind of hidden indie gems, and
Yeah.
I had this vision to create a channel where I could kind of shine light on indie games that deserve to be seen, while also teaching about game design, because that would kind of encapsulate everything that I'm into. So it started off as me just finding these games that I assumed not many people had ever heard of before. Most of these games I had never heard of before until I went out specifically to look for content for the channel. The Metroidvania focus is more just subconscious influence on my end, just because I love that genre so much. But yeah, so I mean, now at this point, I've been so busy with Gigasword that I haven't made any mainstream content for the channel in a little while now. But my goal is to continue to make content where I'm just showing off these games that deserve to be seen, and try to teach what I've learned along the way about development and everything that goes into games, and just kind of celebrate those titles that are kind of those hidden gems that
Yeah,
I think
for
deserve
sure.
more recognition.
What started the pivot towards going more in your own game dev journey instead of doing the more broad review approach and talking about the Gigasword demo, the Kickstarter, devlog, stuff like that? Because you have, I forgot what it's called, but where the ball goes down this really lengthy, I guess, path. And that's how you
Yeah,
like announced like 7 days for announcement. And that's where you did the Kickstarter.
yeah, that thing was so ridiculous. I didn't mean for it to be this huge project, but I had this ridiculous idea of like, oh, let's do like you know, because I for all my videos, like I want to like smash something because that's just what's funny to me. So I was like, oh, let's build like a marble machine, and this thing took like 5 hours for me to make.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh, I'll just get the pieces and make some cardboard, and it just turned into like, yeah, I had like 4 friends over my house like helping me craft this thing. It was a complete nightmare, but it ended up working out. So no, I mean the shift to the content being centered around Gigasword was just kind of a natural progression, because it's like, oh, you know, these people are following me, they know that I'm a developer to some extent. You know, I had been posting on Twitter about just anything that I had been working on for years at that point. And so when I started making Gigasword, I was like, oh, you know, the channel is a perfect place to kind of start to spread the word about this and let people know what I'm doing and everything. And once the Kickstarter began to get rolling, you know, pretty much most of the content on the channel at that point was related to Gigasword, just so that I could keep people updated on what I was doing and what was going on. And so yeah, for right now, you know, it's been a lot of Gigasword focused stuff, but I've got so many games on my backlog that I am planning to make episodes about, games that friends of mine have been working on, and games that just have been out for years at this point that I've been meaning to play. You know, like I see games and I'm like, this would be perfect for the channel, because I just see so much unique design incorporated into it that I'm looking forward to dig into.
I mean, absolutely. Throughout your videos, whether they're reviews, Gigasword or not, like you see a lot of creativity just within you yourself. And so I guess moving more forward, how does your creativity, your humor, how does that play a role in Gigasword? Because there are like tons and tons of puzzles and secrets as I've played just in the demo. Like how can we see your brain come to life in the game?
I think Gigasword is pretty much a pretty accurate representation of the games that I have loved throughout my life, and especially throughout the you know, recent years. You know, there's a lot of Shovel Knight in Gigasword. There's a lot of Dark Souls in Gigasword. Zelda, Metroid. You know, so it's just all my closest inspirations are embodied in the game. So I think, you know, anybody that would be interested in like what kind of games do I enjoy, Gigasword is just this melting pot of all those different aspects.
A culmination of Jack.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Moving on, there is like a break, I think roughly 2 years from your last YouTube channel, and then today, which in the future is like the anniversary where we're announcing the publishing of Gigasword here at Akupara Games. What exactly kept you going? Because I know you were looking for a publisher since I think 2021, maybe before or after that. And so it's been a bit of a drought, I guess, not just with the channel, but like lots of people would think to give up or like the dream is gone. But talking with you, seeing what you've done, you seem super committed to Gigasword and that the dream is really alive. So what kept you going like throughout all that time?
I mean, game development is my life. This game has been my life for 5 years at this point, and it's been hard. It's been really hard. You know, you work on this thing, and I think as a, you know, you get to the stage where like when you're bringing it to small events, you know, nearby, and when you're showing it on Twitter and stuff, like you're used to people kind of being like, oh, like you don't get a lot of like negative feedback, I suppose. You know, it's either just like people are just like, oh, this is cool, whatever. And when you start looking for a publisher, that's when you realize how fierce the competition is. It's like, you know, you have to, whatever your best is, you have to get there, and then you're probably going to have to push more than that, which for me, making this game and getting it publisher worthy was about doing the absolute best that I could, and then like reevaluating that and like just kind of reforging the sword over and over again, no pun intended, like just like, you know, so yeah, in 2021 I started looking for a publisher, and the game was in a completely different state at that point. It was, you know, I was proud of what I had, and I still am looking back, but it was very early, and you know, there was, you know, like I said, when the competition is so fierce, you've got to do better than that. So yeah, it was just about like reaching out to publishers, and people had nice things to say. Like nobody was like, oh, this is terrible or whatever. So I was very thankful for that. But, you know, it wasn't good enough. So then I had to go back and I would make it better. Then I would reach out again like 6 months later. And that process just kept repeating. And of course, the Kickstarter took place in the middle of all that. And that helped a lot. That helped a lot of people to find the game on their own. And
Yeah, I
people,
know it's been a while, but congrats. Like it seemed to do pretty well, and that turned into a pretty good community as well, right?
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, Kickstarter was a very, very stressful 30 days, you know,
Yeah.
and I prepared for the campaign as much as I could. I did a lot of research, but I don't think anyone can really prepare you for just like every
Right.
single day is a marathon. Like I would spend every day reaching out to people and just trying to post everywhere
Mhm.
because you're watching that progress. You're watching the dollar amount tick up, and
Yeah.
you've got this goal you need to reach, and then like as soon as it starts to slow down, which for me was like sooner than I wanted it to be, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna have to manually push this thing over the finish line. Like I need to do everything I can.
Hmm.
So I'm incredibly thankful that it worked out, and the community that came from the campaign is I mean, yeah, I can't say enough about the fans. Everybody's been incredibly supportive and encouraging. And going back
Hmm.
to your question earlier about like what keeps you going, it's like, yeah, like especially I got to shout out my Discord community. Like those guys keep me going. My friends and family keep me going. And I mean, this has been a dream of mine forever. So it's like I don't think there's anything that could get me to quit, but there's a lot that has gotten me to, you know, fear that it's not going to work out. And then
Hmm.
but then, you know, when I bring it to an event and I watch people play it and people say just the kindest things about it, you know,
Absolutely.
it gives me hope again that I'm on the right track.
Yeah, I mean that goes into my next question of uh throughout the Kickstarter and beyond that, you seem to have grown like quite a loyal, engaging, and fun community that all love you and Gigasword. And how does that really affect, you said it a little bit, how does that affect your journey, your personal life, and more? Because we're in the Discord now. We kind of all exploded in there, and they're like, "Oh, who is this?" But they all seem super excited just that there was this possibility. So everyone seems to want to lift you up and get the game like rolling. So everything seems super engaging. So how does the Discord and your community affect not just you but Gigasword as a whole?
I think kind of lifting each other up is a big theme of it because there are a lot of other developers in the community as well. You know, it's not just
Hmm.
players, it's other game makers. And so they're interested to see how this goes from that perspective of like, how do you do this? How do you take a game from start to finish? How do you do a successful Kickstarter? How do you get it published? And if I can be a decent example for those things, that's an honor because a lot of this stuff I've been figuring out as I go. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not claiming to be an expert in any of what I do whatsoever. Um, but no, yeah, they've been a huge, you know, making sure that the backers are satisfied with the way that this goes is like my top
Hmm.
priority because those are the people that believed in me from the start, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they've you know, they have an investment in this early, so it's like it's just such a huge, it's so humbling to have something that you made in your bedroom that you've spent all this time on that you care about so
Hmm.
much, and then people are coming together to help you make it possible. So I, you know, I owe it to them, I owe it to the community who have stuck with me, to my Twitter followers, my YouTube followers. Um I couldn't do it without all those guys. So it's just um yeah, I want to give back by just teaching them as much as I can about the journey and how to do this stuff if I can.
I mean, that's one thing we at Akupara try and just put to the top as well, indies for indies and just helping each other out. And even before we were in contact with you through your YouTube, again, I know I keep going back to that, but you were trying to help people via Kickstarter, game design, things like that. You have always seemed to try and lift up others and indie games and just other like game designers. So that's super humbling of you to do that, but also it's very clear that it's a passion of yours.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's like there have been so many great games that I wouldn't have found if unless I had been doing that. Like
Hmm.
one of the most popular videos on the channel is about a game called Saving Princess. It's a small Metroidvania that was also made by a solo developer,
Hmm.
and that was one of the first videos that I made. And I think I just found it from searching itch.io, looking for games to play, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, this looks cool." I played it, and it's like amazing. Like it's, you know, it's a small. It is what it is, but for what it is, it's great. And I reached out to the creator, this guy named Jacob, and
Hmm.
like, hey, like I, you know, I'm just a small time YouTuber, but like I played your game and I loved it, and here's this video I made about it. And not only like did he really enjoy the video, but then the video kind of exploded. I thought like not exploded, but like but for my channel it exploded. Like it was the most popular video at the time. I think it might still be on the channel. And like he was just so moved by it. He was like, "This is like one of the kindest things anyone's ever done. Like this means so much that you played this and made this thing and whatever." So like he and I became friends through that, and that was a connection that I made. And if I could have that kind of interaction with every developer whose game I play, like that, it would just mean the world to me, because that's the whole point. Is it's like, you made this thing, it's really cool, it deserves to be seen. And you deserve to know that there's somebody out there who appreciates all the work that you put into it.
Absolutely. I mean, and not to, I guess, toot our own horn, but that's what we saw on Gigasword, and we're super excited. I know I played it, and I think you talked to Buddy at PAX, but I remember him talking to me about Gigasword, and I was super excited right off the bat. I was like, I have to play this, and I did. And I was like, this is great. This is awesome. We should definitely sign it. But that goes into my next final question: is you've been on this journey maybe by yourself besides the community for so long. What does it mean to you, to Gigasword, to everybody, to finally like find a home in Akupara for a publisher and just finally see a potential end, or I guess start, to Gigasword, the start of the end, I guess?
It's a strange feeling, probably because it's a lot of feelings wrapped up into one, but it's like you've been working on this thing. The end of the game, not just the literal end in terms of content, but the end of the journey of development, is something that I've only been able to imagine for 5 years. And now it's like I'm at home and I'm working on the final boss, or I'm working on like the last levels. I'm doing backgrounds for the last thing, and it's like, it's not that I never thought I would get there, but like it's been a long time coming, and it's just like, then you're just finally and suddenly sitting there doing it. And I can't put into words how much it means that you know, this is my dream. It's something that the road to get here has been full of challenges, challenges that I didn't, that I could have never prepared for, right? And that's another thing that I want to touch upon in the channel, is it's like, because it's not just about the development side, it's about kind of what you're touching on, is like the mental side of it, is like, you like, how do you keep going, especially not only when this thing takes so long, because motivation is something that all developers struggle with, because you're going to keep coming up with game ideas, so then you always want to bounce around. Yes, exactly. So it's like, the first half is to stay committed to the project that you've chosen and not get sidetracked by your other ideas. But the second part is like, especially when you met with failure, like if you get turned down by a publisher, or God forbid you run a Kickstarter that fails, it's like, how do you bounce back from that? And that's a lot of what I've had to learn and to go through. So I could not be more thankful that the story is where it's at right now, that I'm with you guys, that I found a publisher that's full of so many cool people that share the vision and the dream. That's exactly what I was hoping for and waiting for. And like, for all the, times I got turned down before, like it led me here. So it's perfect. It's,
hey, we're definitely happy to have you and to work on Gigasword. I know I'm super excited. I can't say that enough. You seem absolutely wonderful as a person, and I'm guessing to work with. So I'm very excited to get started.
Well, that means a lot, and I'm very appreciative of you guys and the feedback that you've given me so far, and for being a part of this thing. It means the world to me. It really does.
Hell yeah. Well, I think we're about to wrap it up. We've done a little bit of thanks and thoughts throughout, but is there anyone you want to thank specifically, or any last thoughts you want to give to the community, either Akupara community, the Gigasword community, or whoever's out there?
So the backers, you guys have been here since the beginning. I cannot thank the Kickstarter backers enough. To the Discord community, you guys know I love you from the bottom of my heart, and you guys keep me going every single day, more than you know. And to everyone that's just ever said anything to me about this game, anything to, you know, motivate me or encourage me, whether it was just one single time at some event in, you know, or online or in a comment somewhere. It's like, I remember every single one of those comments from all you guys, because every single one of them has meant so much to me, and that is what has kept me on this path. So I might be the only one doing the artwork and writing the code, but this is not a one-man project. It's everyone who has been involved is a part of Gigasword now and forever. So thank you guys for being a part of it.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank you, Jack, for taking the time to answer a couple questions and come on here and do the interview. I know it's not always the easiest thing, and especially getting to some of the deeper questions. So I really appreciate you coming here and finding a place here at Akupara Games.
I couldn't be more excited. Thank you so much for taking the time to ask me these questions, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.